is the biggest crucible, the test? What's the biggest crucible you're facing today? But what about the leadership levers? The structure, the process, the system, the incentives? What are the things that you can do that are going to basically help you have consequences for the right behaviors? And my ultimate question to you all is, what do you think of you as a leader? The one thing about the military they get to do is help you be cold, wet, tired, and hungry. and in the business world, if we did that, we'd probably get sued. But the cool thing about the military, when you're cold, wet, tired, and hungry, is it reveals character very quickly. It reveals strengths, and it also reveals flaws. Your people might not be cold, wet, tired, and hungry, but they might be the equivalent of that. They might be completely stressed, sleep deprived, you're working them to death, they're losing sleep. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that are going on. But it really was about the courage to ask yourself tough questions, and it was about having the humility to face the answers, and it was about being disciplined enough to focus and make decisions and prioritize. When you think about it, when we exhibit those, we're going to have teams that do more with less, we're going to have teams that work well together, and we're going to have teams that are actually focused. The real test came when we were on rucksack marches. You know, we had a heavy weight, we were going really fast, it felt like your shins were on fire because you weren't allowed to run. And you'd go for 4 miles, and it was always at night or real early in the morning, and you come into the compound, you'd see the lights just like that one, and you're like, oh, we're done. You come through the gate, and there's another gate about 100 meters that way, and you're like, we're not stopping. We're going through that gate. How far? Are we going 40 more minutes? Are we going 400 yards? Are we going 4 miles? You never knew. You had no idea. So you didn't know when the suffering was going to end. And what happened is people dropped like flies. As soon as we went through the gate and they didn't know, they quit. The body didn't fail them. Their mind failed them. And you think about the business world, how often do we not know when the pain and suffering is going to end? And the uncertainty. We never know. And think about your teams. Cold, wet, tired, hungry. I mean, how many of them are tired, sleep deprived, exhausted, burned out, all that? And you've got to keep them going. You know, and that reveals character. And you start to see who's with me, who can hang in there. And what I found was the people that quit looked at adversity as permanent, pervasive, and personal. And the people that didn't quit looked at it as temporary, limited, and external. You know, this too shall pass. You know, pain is temporary, quitting is forever. This particular audience, given it's a women's success forum, 1,100 women, what I aimed to do was to really draw on the experiences of women leaders, whether they were baby boomers or Gen X or millennials, across all kinds of different industries, government, academia, small and large companies, and get their perspectives and sprinkle those perspectives on self-reliant leadership into the presentation. Bud really taught me about humility. When I started teaching leadership at CU 10 years ago, I sat down and had dinner with Bud, and he always, whenever he talks to you, he grabs your forearm like this, and he kind of shakes it, and he's like, so you're going to teach leadership, huh, Jan? I'm like, yep. And he goes, are you ready to face your own hypocrisy? And here I stand. And Tim Cole taught me the art of the question. He asked me questions in a non-manipulative way that helped me analyze it. He took the time to coach me. How many times have you taken 3 hours out of your day to coach somebody on one little simple thing? It's because when there's a crisis, when the stuff gets to your desk, that means somebody else either can't make that decision, isn't empowered, doesn't have the knowledge, might not have the courage. And at that point, all you really have is yourself to make that decision. And isn't that what leadership is all about? Instigating change, doing things. It's not the status quo. It's not where you're at with this and this and this and this. And again, my experience is the self-reliant leaders are the ones that were in charge of their own self-development. that they were squared away way in advance, because the question that they were asking themselves all the time was, for whose good do I serve? That to me is one of the ultimate questions. But really it is about having the courage to ask those questions, having the humility to answer them, and having the discipline to act and decide. And not only the discipline, but the ability to sacrifice. And as I'm walking down this trail here, you know, it's just one foot in front of the other and over 100 miles to go. And the thing that's most important is just being patient and knowing that every step gets you closer. And I think it's a great metaphor for life.